Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I paint some cherry flowers and I believe in Japanese it's called Sakura. Okay, let's get started. I have a very light layer of opera rose and then I use a medium sized brush and spread the paint on the separate petals. I take off a little bit of paint, so kind of like creating highlights on the flower petals and then adding some stronger colors with a thinner brush. Especially around the edges, I add some more of opera rose. And then I continue with the third petal. Basically, I try to make sure that the petals don't mix together. And then here a little bit more of the paint. Now I'm done with the first flower. In total we have 3 and some smaller blossoms. And I continue the same way as I have done before, so basically adding a very light layer of opera rose, and then while the paper is still wet I add some stronger color of, and also adding a little bit here and there, some lines in between. Also here I do not connect the petals together. The petals itself don't need to be perfect, so the more imperfect they are, the better it is and the more realistic it looks. Then I continue with the flower bud, and kind of like the same way as I have done before, just adding light layer and then at the bottom some stronger colors. The difference in pigments of the paint creates a really nice contrast, which is really important when you paint flowers. Now, after the flowers or the first layer has dried, I add a second layer on the top of it. I proceed the same way as I have done before, so it's really just a light layer, but I added a little bit of a cadmium red to the upper rose, which is really just a splash of cadmium red, and you can barely notice, and then continue the same way, so kind of taking off a little bit of a paint to create some highlights, and then adding stronger pigments to create more contrast. Here as well, the petals are not connected. A good tip is also that you do not paint the entire petal, but leave a little bit of the previous petal to shine, the previous layer to shine through. Cherry flowers are I believe very beautiful flowers. I'm not sure that I have seen many in my lifetime. Obviously the cherry flower festival in Japan is very famous and goes back a long time. It's called Hanami, which basically means cherry blossom viewing or flower viewing. The traditions are really old and started already during the Nara era, which is between 710 and 794, and then have been taken over by the Emperor Sago of the Heir period, and he kind of like organized cherry flower viewings mostly for the elite, which basically was of coming together, eating and drinking sake. Then, however, it kind of started to become more common as well among the samurai society and swept over as well to the common people. Basically, now it's a tradition which is announcing the spring, or the spring is coming, and when the cherry flowers are in full blossoms, people are meeting up and eating underneath the cherry trees. As far as I could read, the traditional drinks are sake, but I believe green tea is very popular, and eating some sweets which are basically Sakura flavored. The cherry blossoming time is not very long, so it is between 1 or 2 weeks, and I believe if you have some bad weather such as really strong winds, it might be that this time is even shortened. I have seen that there are many cherry blossoms forecast, so as a tourist you have to plan it quite well and check those forecasts when the cherry flowers are blossoming in different areas of Japan. I continue here with my painting, and basically I used some burnt sienna and adding it slightly, some branches, and then I mixed it with some turquoise blue and a pinch of ultramarine blue to make a darker shadow or darker colors for the branches, as well as I have a mix ready of lemon yellow and some turquoise blue with a little bit of burnt sienna for the darker bits for darker layers for the leaves. But generally it is really just lemon yellow and some turquoise blue, which I add to the middle of the cherry blossom flowers. Just really light layer, and I use a very thin brush. Then I add a stronger layer of opal rose and cadmium red, so I added more of cadmium red to the mixture, and it comes out nicely and having more of a warm touch. And here I have mixed the same reddish color with a touch of turquoise blue or blue to highlight different petals. If you feel like, okay, it's a bit too strong, you take a little bit of water and then spread the stronger colors while it's still wet. Then adding here and there, just at the sides. It's kind of like a shadow areas, and it really comes out striking. I did not really use a reference for the pictures, so I have to look in between what I'm doing, although I did look at some pictures in Pixabay, but I did not really want to be as detailed, just a simple flower, cherry blossom flowers, and with an overlapping technique. We have around 3 layers, and I try to emphasize the different layers by adding more of a color at the edge of those petals, no underneath, and then having here stronger colors. So it's really just like a mixture of opera rose and cadmium red, and varying in strength. I think here a little bit more the flower, just this, so that the petals really pop out and then spreading, as well as on the flower buds. And then adding more of a stronger green, just adding more of a turquoise blue to the mixture, and the same blue kind of adding underneath the branch. Then I continue with the background. So basically I want it to be very blurry. I add some more water and then just really light layers of turquoise blue. It's advisable to use a very big brush, such as this mop brush, and then carefully adding around the flowers. And then adding here and there some upper rose paint, so it's mixing together for that. It really needs to be stronger than the first layer of turquoise blue, so it doesn't really create those water stains, but I'm not sure here, it doesn't really matter, so you can even have those. And they can mix up to purple, and then underneath the flower I have more of this cadmium red opera rose mixture. It's a bit more warmer, and then adding as well loads of turquoise blue and loads of this red mixture, and then spreading it around. And here adding some splashes for a nice effect, and red splashes as well, or pink splashes to give some nice structure to the background, as it isn't very detailed. While the paper is still wet, I add some more reddish colors just to emphasize the light layers of the petals, which are outer petals of the flower, as well as it gives a nice idea for a nice structure for the background. But that's my own way of painting. It's kind of like a way of creating a more contrast. And then continue with the middle of the flower, so I add a bit stronger blue, a turquoise blue, green, and then more of the red, because I thought it might not be as strong. It's fading too much away with the flowers, so adding here stronger layer of colors, which are slightly getting purplish, so they added more of a turquoise blue to the red mixture. And I don't add too much of this paint because it's really strong, so it's for the emphasizing the different shadow areas of the flower. But I prefer to add the dark colors just like around the edges, and you can as well spread it light brush strokes It's for just for the solely purpose and emphasizing the different petals. A little bit more darker bluish around the branches. That was it. Thank you for watching and remember to subscribe. Bye.